The last story I'll tell you is about a friend of mine who is he's a hospital chaplain. And he goes around, chatting to people who are in hospital beds. And there was one guy who was in for a long time, and he said every time he walked past the bed, the guy would be in bed, and he'd just do that at the vicar as he went past. Every time. Wee. Wee. Oh, there he is. All the time. So he'd go in there, and he got used to it. He just got used to that. So every time he usually didn't, but he just smile and expect that. And then one particular day, he walked past, and there was no that. He was just lying there. And as he was walking past, he said, "Oi." My friend looked at him and said, "Yes." And he said, "Can I have a word?" He said, "Sure." He said, "All right, I know I'm being rude and everything, but, I would just love to chat to you about why you wear that white thing, what you believe." He said, "Sure, what would you like to know?" He said, "Well, come on then, tell me." So he told him about Jesus, he told him about grace, about forgiveness, about the love of God, about the relationship you can have with him, all the basic things, and that you can pray to him. And he said, "Well, how do you pray then?" He said, "Well, it's pretty simple actually." He said, "Well, how do you pray then?" And he said, "Well," and he got off his chair and said, "Okay, that's your bed, there you are, there's a chair. Now you just imagine that Jesus is sitting in this chair, and he's just loving you permanently. He knows you. And you can talk to him, so you can just say what you like." He said, "So what would you say?" And he said, "Probably say that I'm pretty scared." Well, you can tell him that. Very fragile man. And he said, "Well, what else would you say?" And that I've effed up my life and I'm sorry. Great, that's honest. What else would you say? To know. Well, you can be in silence, but just remember he's there. Just keep talking, keep talking. You can listen if you like, but just keep talking. Remember that you're loved. Remember that he died for you. Remember that you're free. Basic stuff. So he said, "Thanks. I can see why you're a vicar. Sounds good." And then my friend got up and left. He was there a few days later, walked past the bed, empty. Spoke to the nurses, "Where is he? Have you moved him to another ward?" "No, I'm afraid." The staff nurse said, "No, I'm afraid he died actually 2 days after you were last here." And he went, "Oh, okay." And he said, "That's a shame." And she said, "Yeah, but when you left the last time, he was he was kind of bouncy in bed and kept telling us what you told him about the chair and this Jesus thing." And he said, "Oh, that's good." And he said, "Yeah, he was like really overwhelmingly pleased about it all." And he said, "Good." And then he got a bit sort of, so he started walking off. And the staff nurse said, "Oh, by the way, one other thing before you go, you should probably know, and it's a bit strange to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway, that when we found him in the morning after he died, he was found leaning out of his bed. His hips were on the bed, and his chest was on you pulled the chair toward, his chest was on the chair, and his arms were wrapped around the back of the chair. And he died like that. And of course, my friend just started weeping. Because he realized that this guy, he'd understood the whole thing. He got it completely in a nutshell. The thing we struggle with all our lives, he'd understood that he was loved. The reason why he exists was to love and be loved. And that he could rest his whole weight and his fragility on this Jesus, because you can put your burden on him. And he will sustain you because he loves you.